Hello everybody, Spooky Sandwoman here. Thank you for checking out episode 8 of Seduce Me the Otome. I'm probably getting these all wrong, but whatever. Last episode, there was a devil who's trying to kill the incubi. I visited my grandfather's grave. Nothing too exciting, to be honest. But today, we're going to school! Yay. Come at me, Day. I'm ready for you. I looked at the time again. Time to go. Can I at least, encounter one of the boys? I quickly rushed through the doors, checking myself in the passing mirror. I wasn't wanting to impress anyone, but I still needed to look decent. Right on cue, Naomi drove up to the gates with Susie waving me down. I rushed out the door and we headed to school, talking about the homework and the coming day. That's boring. We made it to the school without a hitch. Our lockers were in the same part of the hall, so we quickly unloaded what we needed to and got our important books and necessities. First incident of the day. As I walked towards Susie and Naomi, who were both waiting for me on the opposite side of the hall, something hooked my ankle and made me fall forward. What? Ow!
Hey, are you okay? Who did that?
This bitch. The three of us looked back to see Lisette and her gaggle of girls. Lisette had a look of complete innocence while the girls around her giggled like no tomorrow.
Why, you little... Suzu, don't!
Do it! Do it! Do it! I felt a giant fire of anger burn in my stomach as I stared at Lisette. Today was not the only time this had happened to me. However, it was now clear who was behind these incidents. Even if she was innocent and one of her goons didn't, now it was obvious that Lisette was the mastermind just from the look on her face. She was no friend, nor would she ever be. I had to do something. No, I'm going to get her. I'd had enough. I felt adrenaline rush through my body as I pounced off of the ground and rushed at Lisette. I was not going to be the only one with scrapes this time. I tackled Lisette to the ground, swiping and slapping her innocent face. She screamed in fright before trying to push me off and block my attacks.
Holy shit! Anderson! Stop it!
No! I wasn't listening to anyone. I let my carnal need to get revenge take over as I began to pull out Lisette's hair to get a better aim at her face with my free hand. Dang. I had enough of the bullying, the wounds, the insults. All of that was going to burn in the past as I scraped my nails and hand across Lisette's face over and over. My rebellion would be marked on her pretty face for all to see. Lisette pushed me off and scrambled to her feet, both panicked and angry at the same time. Her emotion was nowhere close to the anger I was feeling.
Are you crazy? What the hell?
I stood up very slowly, glaring daggers into Lisette's soul through her eyes. I must have some sort of monster behind me, or maybe I look like a monster myself. But the gaggle of girls, Lisette, and even my friends had a look of pure terror on their faces. I have had enough of you, Lisette. You obviously won't stop unless I fight back. Well, guess what? You're gonna get it. I charged at Lisette a second time, shoving her hard against the lockers. She let out a yelp of pain as she smacked the back of her head against the metal behind her before glaring and shoving me back. As I stumbled back, Lisette raised her hands, ready to fight.
Then come on, Anderson. Show me what you've got. I bet it's not much.
I felt myself snarl in anger before raising my own fists, remembering my taekwondo. I quickly snapped onto one leg and raised a leg to get a swift kick at her head, but she blocked with her arm and stepped towards me to jab at me. She had training. Not surprising. I didn't care at that moment. I bent back from the incoming jab, reestablishing my balance as I placed both feet on the floor. Lisette threw jab upon jab at me, forcing me to block my torso and face with my arms and hands. Hit for hit, Lisette and I exchanged and defended blows at each other. It was intended more than just a catfight. This was a vengeful duel. In my mind, all I saw was Lisette. All I wanted was to make her stop, and if that meant beating her down, then it had to be done. Eventually, we gained a small crowd of people, all silent but observing the fight. My anger intensified and my hits became harder with each second that passed between us. I couldn't let her win. I wouldn't let her win. None of Lisette's girls dared to step in, apparently afraid after seeing our skills and our individual fighting styles. Suzu was held back by Naomi's arm, despite both of them wanting to help me. They didn't wait long for it to end, though. Suddenly, Lisette was pulled away from me, and I was pushed against the lockers by a strong force. Lisette hit the lockers as well as on the opposite end of the hallway, letting out a gurgly grunt of pain. Oh. I looked up to see my art teacher, Miss Gordon, holding me against the lockers with a look of surprise and serious concern on her face.
Miss Anderson, what are you doing?
I looked to see Lisette being held back by Mrs. Phillips, starting to cry innocently. Oh, God. I knew it was going to come out of her mouth, so I tried to push Miss Gordon off to confront her. Miss Gordon, however, kept an arm wrapped around me, keeping me back. No! Don't you dare start crying, Lisette! You started this!
Miss Anderson, get a hold of yourself!
I don't wanna... What is wrong with you? What did I ever do to you? I couldn't stop the angry tears running down my face as I shouted across the hallway. Lisette and Mrs. Phillips stared in shock at my screams as Miss Gordon tightened her hold on me. I am so sick of it! Leave me alone! Eventually I lost my energy and began to weigh down on Miss Gordon's arms, letting my sadness take over and quench my anger with tears and swelling pain. I could feel Miss Gordon hug me to her to keep me upright as Lisette sniffled and confided with Mrs. Phillips.
I didn't do anything to her. She just attacked me all of a sudden.
This bitch.
That's a lie, Lisette. You tripped her on purpose. You've always been a snobby brick to us.
Oh.
Never! I gave my condolences about her grandfather's death. I try to keep everyone calm. Is that so wrong?
You didn't even sound sincere. We know you were only pretending to be nice to spite us.
Enough. Miss White, follow me to the dean's office.
Lisette followed, wiping her eyes in the feigned innocence she knew how to play up. I remained still in Miss Gordon's arms, unable to bring myself to fight to get Lisette again. I had done my damage. The gaggle of Lisette wannabes would make sure I would become infamous around the school. I didn't care. I made my statement on Lisette's face and body, and I wasn't afraid to do it again. Miss Gordon, however, wasn't done with me.
Come with me, sweetie.
I nodded and followed. My friends frowned as they watched me leave, but they headed to class without me. Miss Gordon led me to an empty classroom where she had claimed as hers. It looked like all the other classrooms, but art posters lined the walls. Many students loved the room, but hated one thing, the mirror in the very back of the room. It was one thing Miss Gordon loved to use against her students. With it, she was able to see who was using their phones and who was actually studying. Miss Gordon led me to the back of the room and sat me down in front of it.
What do you see?
Huh?
Tell me what you see.
I looked in the mirror and saw myself. My clothes were a bit ruffled from the fight, but beyond that, I just saw me. Nothing about me seemed different. I see myself.
All right. What else?
What else? I don't understand.
Do you know what I see? I see a brilliant woman who has been working her butt off to try and find herself. She just has a little bit of adversity in her way.
What does this have to do with what happened with Lisette?
Listen, don't think about Lisette right now. She's just another student who doesn't know what you're going through.
I stared at myself in the mirror, unable to tear my eyes away. She was right, but I still lingered on what happened with Lisette. I know Miss Gordon was only trying to help, but I couldn't fight the thoughts in my head. Miss Gordon gently rubbed my shoulders, stopping me from my thoughts. I looked up to see her smile down at me through the mirror.
You know, those were some pretty interesting moves. Taekwondo.
Yeah.
You'll have to show me one day.
I laughed as she hugged me gently.
Look, don't let Lisette get to you, okay? You have your own battles to face, and you can face them just fine. Instead of fighting Lisette, focus on your goals.
I looked up at her and nodded slightly. It was a cliche to hear, but she was telling the truth. I needed to focus on myself first. She gave me a small packet of tissues and told me she would handle Lisette. The fear about my family learning about this that had quickly appeared had vanished when she promised to keep me out of it as much as she could.
Everything will be fine now. You're a good student, so I'll let you off with a severe warning. Just don't get into any more fights, okay? Now, head to class.
I nodded before heading to class. Surprising, the rest of the school day went off without another incident. I went to my classes, had lunch, and was anxious to get home. As the bell rang for school to end, I felt my phone vibrate in my pocket. Oh no. Huh? A text? From Dad? I'll be picking you up today. Make sure you're ready to go when I get there. That's kind of a surprise. I quickly headed back to my locker and got my things before waiting for Naomi and Suzu.
Hey, are you ready to go?
Actually, my dad's picking me up.
Really? Okay, I guess that kind of makes sense. We'll drive home together next time. Tell your dad that we've got you covered from now on.
Yeah, alright. Even while I laughed, something didn't seem right. My dad texted me to say this? Why was he going to pick me up? Had I done something wrong? I didn't know. I waved goodbye to Naomi and Susie before heading off to the usual spot where my dad picks me up. I took the time to listen to my music while I waited. I need to go to another Rise of the Phoenix concert. Eventually, I had played the entire album with no one showing up. What the hey? Dad's never late. Especially not this late. What the hey? I quickly dialed Dad's number again, but as soon as I pressed call, it disconnected and read a signal disconnection error message. This seems very sketchy. What the? No signal error? How do I not have signal? I double-checked my phone and saw all 5 bars for signal. It must be a dead zone. Oh, lordy. It's Max on it. Before I could finish, a group of hands grabbed at my hands, feet, and covered my mouth. Oh my gosh. I screamed into the hand over my mouth, struggling to pull away from the hands grabbing at my limbs. It felt disgusting and scary. Feeling their hands on me, it needed to stop. Oh my god.
Hey! Don't dirty up Malix's prey!
The voice, which sent a fearful shiver down my spine, whispered into my ear.
You're coming with me, Miss Anderson.
I don't wanna... I couldn't fathom what was happening, but before I knew it, I was blindfolded and my limbs were quickly tied up. I felt myself being carried somewhere and was shoved into something that echoed the interior of a bus or a van. The doors closed and off I was taken, unsure of where I was going and why. All I knew was that I was in trouble. All I saw was darkness. I felt numb as I was taken to a place I didn't know of. I couldn't even move my lips to scream. Sounds zipped past my ears, first of the interior of the car, then the outside. Then an echoey space with whispers and cackles of people vibrating through it. However, the wrapper around my eyes eventually removed from my face and my bonds were cut. It took a while for my eyes to adjust, but I found myself in a warehouse, surrounded by devils, including Maxwell, who was smirking at me.
Nicely done! I'm sure those little shits will come running to find you when they realize you didn't return to your precious little mansion. They'll search everywhere for you.
Maxwell walked over and set the barrel of the gun against his skin between my eyes.
It'll be so funny when they find your dead body instead.
I could see Maxwell pull the trigger before bracing myself. I made a wrong decision, didn't I? Oh, okay.
What the fuck?
I opened my eyes again to see Maxwell jamming his fingers against the trigger, trying to shoot me to no avail.
Well, she either has the barrier spell on her, or you're losing your power.
Shut up! I'm not losing shit! This little brat must have that spell on her!
I felt a wave of relief run through my body. The other devils laughed at Malix, which made him angrier.
I said, shut up!
Oh! Malix suddenly moved his gun towards a nearby devil and pulled the trigger. I stared wide-eyed as the bullet from Alex's gun rammed himself into the neck of the devil boy. The wound spouted fire and blood, causing the devil to scream and flail in extreme pain before falling limp to the ground. Holy shit, what the fuck is going on? As the body hit the floor, it almost began to deform and melt. Blood and black ash poured out of the wound in every opening the body had. Ew, causing the smell of death to quickly fill the room. I felt like gagging as the body eventually stopped moving. The body became like a deflated balloon, showing me the true nature of Malex's gun. It was now just a pile of blood and skin. The bullet had burnt up the muscle, bones, and any structure the body had to give its form. That could have been me. That could have been me!
Anyone else wanna laugh at me? Huh?
The devils around us shut their mouths, obeying the warning to the obvious master of the space. Maxwell growled before glaring at me.
As I was saying, it must be some holy magic or some shit like that. There is.
The girl who had kidnapped me stepped up beside Malex, looking at me. Malex wrapped a strong arm around her waist and pulled her tight against his side before burying his face into her neck. Eris didn't react, but continued to stare at me as Malex ravaged her shoulder and neck in violent kisses. What? Eventually, Malex pulled away, licking his lips before looking to Eris's face.
Be a dear and get rid of her barrier. Now.
Without another word, Eris walked around me, out of my line of sight. As I turned my head to try and follow her, Malex raised his gun to my face once again, forcing me to stop moving.
I may not be able to shoot you yet, brat. But there are other ways I can beat the living shit out of you.
What the fuck? I'm gonna screw this up really bad. Is that really, a graffiti of the word barbecue? I didn't say a single word. I knew how to defend myself against anything he had to offer. I was slowly losing my fear of him, and it was oddly satisfying. Woo! All of a sudden, however, I felt air escape me and rush behind me, sucking away from me by a mysterious force. It was like a large vacuum was pulling my soul out from my back. What was even worse, that I felt stuck in place as all this was happening. I turned my head to barely see Eris holding a red orb that was absorbing a white stream of air, and possibly magic from my body. Eris kept her eyes to my back, but Malex grabbed my face and made me look back at him, smirking.
That barrier around you won't be protecting you much longer. Be patient, little human.
I should have fought. Shit! I wanted to do something. I needed to. I was going to die if that barrier was removed. Okay, I have to fight now. No way this was happening. No way I was going to let myself be a victim of this. I will.
What are you whimpering? Are you praying that the boys will come and save you?
I closed my eyes and took a breath before snapping up to one leg and sweeping my foot across Malex's face. Ha! Malex flew to the side and rolled his rubbing cheek in complete shock. I could feel Eris step back away from me, leaving me to look at Malex shake my foot out from a hit. Malex quickly hopped up and growled at me, obviously surprised but irritated beyond relief.
You little bitch! You think you're tough, huh? Well, I'll show you your place. Come here!
It's a good thing I got into a fight today, huh? Malex charged me, dropping the gun that would never hurt me to the floor and reaching for my face. However, I quickly crouched down and swept my leg in front of him, knocking Malex down once again. I rolled back away from the fallen devil and glared as I rose back from my feet. Just because I'm human doesn't mean I can't kick your ass. Yeah. I placed my hands in front of me before sliding over to Malex and slamming the tip of my foot onto his head. One of the devils around us tried to step in, but Eris held out her arm, stopping them.
No! Stay out of it! Let Malex deal with it!
As commanded, the devils that surrounded us stood away from the fight. The group watching us was lost in intrigue as I stood up against their leader. I continued to kick Malex, who tried to block my kicks with his arms. I brought up a foot before slamming it down onto Malex's chest. I definitely heard a rib or two crack at the impact, causing Malex to lose his breath. I have ice cream cake, so I might take a few bites in between stuff. What I didn't expect was him grabbing my leg and pulling it out from under me. Ugh. I fell to the ground, landing with a loud thud. Oof! I felt pain shoot up my arms and run through my body at the impact my own body had on the ground. I tried to push off, but the pain forced me to stay down. Malik took that chance to roll on top of me, pin me down, glaring and smirking down at me evilly. As I tried to get off him, the futility of the situation dawned on me. I was fighting a devil. I was just a human. I wasn't magical, nor was I special. I wasn't going to be him.
It's useless, woman. You're as good as dead. Bet you regret trying to fight me in the first place now.
Fear began to consume me. Oh, for the love of God, someone find me, I prayed. I hoped that I wouldn't have to keep fighting. I was becoming desperate.
You have major balls trying to fight me. You're not even a man. You're a puny woman who's about to think what's coming to her.
Whatever made everyone in that warehouse drop our fighting faces was the screeching of police sirens coming closer to our location. Malik smirked even wider.
It's time to have fun, boys. Make sure you kill them all.
The devils all seemed to get excited and started to walk past us to meet with the cops, but a loud finger snap stopped them and made them turn around. Malix and I looked to see Eris with her hand in the air post-snap.
Eris? What are you doing?
Enough, Malix. We've wasted enough time in this stupid town. I'm getting out of here and I'm taking the rest with me.
I didn't know whether to laugh or not. I bit my tongue as Malix got angry again.
Like hell you are! Boys, do as I say, or else!
None of the boys moved. Eris snapped her fingers again, causing the boys to rush back past her and out another way of the warehouse.
Malix, it's over. You can't even beat a human girl. You're losing your powers. Lower devils only follow higher-ups that actually have power.
Shut your mouth!
Malik summoned his gun to his hand and shot multiple times at Eris, who somehow managed to teleport away from the shooting line and reappear by us. She shook her head, letting out a sigh before grabbing Malix by the neck and pulling him off of me. Malik started to choke as Eris stared coldly at him.
All this for a bunch of pretty boys. You must be stupid and desperate.
Eris looked at me, making me tense up.
Human, I suggest heading home to your pretty boys. You don't want to get involved in a supernatural investigation. It's a pain in the ass.
She then turned back to Malix, glaring daggers into him as he glared back at her.
You really think women are weak? Let me fix that, sweetie.
And with that, Eris vanished in the shadows, taking Malix with her. As I was left alone, the police siren stopped. I looked over to the open passage to see the incubi with large police siren megaphones staring at me in surprise.
Where is he? I swear I'm gonna...
He's gone. Eris took him and left. They won't be coming back. It was all so surreal. I was helped by a devil, but I quickly shook off the feeling. I was alive, and that's all that mattered. I fought to stay alive, and there I was. The boys tried to question me, but James cleared his throat, catching the attention of his brothers and me.
Let's just get you home, miss. There's nothing more to see here.
Altogether, we began to walk out of the warehouse and back home. There was no way in hell anyone was going to find out about this. It was over. Quick second. Should probably end this episode off here. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really can't stop playing this. I really can't. This is really fun. Sounds weird, but I like this. It's better than I expected it to be. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, go ahead and like, comment, or subscribe. Share with your friends if you think they'd like this sort of stuff. Alright. Bye-bye.